Hey, Evan.
Hey, what's up?
Good. How are you doing?
You know what? I can't complain. We're almost at Friday. How about you?
I call was that Wednesday? They call it Hump Day. I don't know what they call Tuesday. So this is a short week
Taco
for me. I'm doing
Tuesday.
a 3-day weekend. So
Oh yeah.
technically, this will be like my Wednesday.
Mhm. Almost there. Almost there.
Good. What city are you located in?
So I'm actually in Chicago, where it's 40 degrees, windy, and the rest of the world is warming up. People are in shorts and t-shirts, and I'm out here in a hoodie and sweatpants and borderline boots most days.
Okay. So are you like, Giordano's or Uno's type of person?
Neither one. I would much rather have Papa John's rather than have some of these popular Chicago pizza eateries that really are subpar all the way. Papa John's, easily Papa John's. Giordano's, they don't cook their pizza all the way. Italian Fiesta is like this thin. I'm like, is this like cafeteria pizza? Everything beggars tastes like a cardboard box. It's just not a good situation.
I love deep dish sourdough Chicago style pizza. That's probably my favorite.
Are you from Chicago?
No, I'm from Nashville.
Okay, so you just kind of visit in here. Yeah, you got to find something else besides the pizza. It's really not what they made it seem like. And I was so disappointed the first 6 times I tried. I'm like, it's supposed to be.
I just don't understand like Giordano's, and then for us, Papa John's is like so common. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, but Papa John's actually does not disappoint.
What?
You got to think about it. Think about it. Papa John's does not disappoint. The cheese is the pizza is always nice and hot. The crust is cooked to perfection. It's filled with pepperoni, sausage, whatever you want. Like I'm telling you, Papa John's is a gem compared to this stuff that I have to endure here.
Okay, plus I know when I used to live in California, I liked Pieology. Pieology is really, really good. It's organic. It's super. And they have all natural products. I love Pieology. I wish they had it here on the East Coast. I'm in Charlotte right now.
Okay.
But because I was in the Navy station out there. I've been in Charlotte about a year, but Pieology hands down.
Yeah, so we had I used to live in Alabama before I moved to Chicago, and we actually had a Pieology in Huntsville, and it was probably some of the best. Now that I could eat probably twice a week. That Pieology compared to Giordano's and Emos is in St. Louis. That's not good either.
Yeah. No, it's not. Not like Uno. Uno's is good.
I never had that one. I tried a new one, Beggars, I think it was, and there was it's a standalone pizza shop.
Okay.
What's the name of it? That was probably close to Papa John's, but other than that, it's just not good. It's not a win.
Okay, because I know my grandparents used to live in St. Louis. That was my first time eating Uno's. But then I lived in New Island when I was in the Navy, and they had Uno's up there because we would like go to Providence or go to Boston and hang out.
Okay.
And have Uno's up there, and it's good. Like it's really good.
So in your time in St. Louis, did you do the what do they call it? Is it Chinaman? China? Is that what they call it? The Chinese?
I was like 12, 13. I was little.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was way back in the day. Because they had like, what was that grocery store Schnucks?
You know what? I'm not exactly sure because I'm actually not from St. Louis. I've just been a few times enough to like remember like 2 or 3 things in the Chinaman and then the Emos. Not the Emos. Yeah, Emos is right. Or the 2 things that I remember. Every time I've been, I've gotten it, and I've always been like pleasantly underwhelmed.
That's what's up. I know people like, really? Y'all talking about pizza? Like, yes.
Yeah.
But listen, I guess we need to satisfy and talk about why we're here.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
We're going to get there. We're trying to help you out, help you get logged in, okay? We've been here. 15
minutes.
Waiting on you. But anyway, hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Camille Essick. I'm host of the Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast where innovators and creators connect. Today, I have the one and only Evan S. Brown. He is in the building. He's on the couch with me, and we're going to discuss some things. Before we do that, I want to shout out to everybody on Instagram Live tuning in. Hey, Di. Hey, lady. How you doing? And the Avar Marketing Group, thank you for joining me. So we got to do a little business. So if you want to connect with me, follow me on Instagram at Camille.Essick. Also, merch available, guys. I've written some new ebooks. Start a podcast with less than $100. eBoss, how to publish your own ebooks without breaking the bank, and the self-love guide, how to overcome self-critical and other mindsets. All that's available on my website at CamilleEsther.com. As you know, I have my essential oil room spray collection, Chemistry, which is out right now, also on my website. And I have some great things coming down the pipeline. So, Evan, we were here talking about pizza. So we know that about you. We know that you prefer Papa John's.
Keep it simple.
Yes, but on the professional side, we're not going to talk about the foodie side of you, but the professional side. Tell the people who you are and what you do.
What's up? So, first and foremost, I'm honored to be here. And is this being broadcast on Facebook too?
Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram Live.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure I share it before we jump all the way in. My mom is like my biggest, and so she's always like, I don't know how to find that stuff, but I know how to get to your profile, and then we'll go from there. So I want to make sure I do that. But I am Evan Brown, better known as Coach Ev. That's like my alter ego work person. I'm a business/success coach. And I flat out just believe in people. I've always believed in people. I've always been able to see the good in people, even when it hurt me. And it's one of those things that I turned purpose and passion and my skill set into something profitable, not just for me, but super effective for all of those that I get a chance to touch and to work with. So that's what I do. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised. Lived in Alabama for 10 years, moved to Chicago 2 years ago. Looking forward to my next big move somewhere else down south. I'm kind of one of those, I wouldn't call myself a nomad, but I do believe in like getting, especially while you're young and you have very limited responsibilities, get out, see the world. Like if I could move across the water, across the pond to London, I would, but I don't want to be that far from my mama. So it's kind of like, let me just, Chicago's far enough. I got 12 hours and then maybe Houston will be another 12, but that's about as far as I'm gonna go. But that's me. I love what I do. I love helping people, most importantly, be their best selves, find their best self, and then make some money in the process of it.
Awesome. So you were in Alabama for 10 years. What was going on in Alabama?
10 years. Yeah. So I graduated from high school and I went on this whole like, I'm going to do my own thing, forget the path, forget my parents' plan, all of that. So I pretty much hijacked everything about a month and a half before I was supposed to enroll in college at Morehouse. I said, forget it. I am going to Alabama A&M. So I found it online, watched the YouTube video, saw the band playing Lovely Day. And I was like, I want to go to that school. Applied, got in, and my life just kind of skyrocketed from there. Ended up in Huntsville for college for 5 years. Because I did college right. I did all 5 years. All 5 years.
You gotta do 5. It doesn't count.
It's somewhere in there. I did Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay, Indiana Love. Okay.
Come on, see? You know what? I like you. Yeah, so I did that and, goofed off a little bit. But then right after college, I ended up working, got a job at NASA, did that for about a year, and then kind of started my journey into uncovering who I really am and what I really want to do, because I recognize that I got this formal education and I'm appreciative of it. I love it, but what I do professionally does not really encompass or really open up the fullness of who I am. And why would I give 40 hours, a majority of my year, majority of my week to a place that only doesn't even really scratch the surface of who I really am and what I desire to accomplish in life? So dipped. And then went a few jobs, tried a few different things, found a love for a job and just ended up being there 5 years. And when I blinked, I was like, oh man, I'm like almost 30. I haven't had that big 20s, experience where you go to a new city, start fresh, make new friends, figure out life. And all of my friends had done that, had kind of gotten through that process. We're kind of getting settled in those cities and settled in places. And I was like, you know what? If I don't move now, I'm going to regret this in about 3 to 4 years. Mm-hmm. And so a month, I packed up my stuff. A month later, me and my U-Haul in my car were on the way to Chicago to start afresh.
I love it. You had me at D9 because I was like, okay, frats in the house, we're good.
Absolutely.
That is so what's up. And for those that don't know, I'm a Sigma Gamma Rho, but most of y'all know that or whatever. So yeah, and our schools are across the street from each other. Yes.
Well, he's right there.
Go on and shit me one time.
I won't do that because we'll lose this podcast. Okay.
Okay. That's all I needed. We're good. So with that being said, being an entrepreneur and a creative, there are so many things we go through. I think a lot of people don't realize that sometimes we do evolve. I know I started out in the mink eyelash industry, Kimmy Mink Lashes, did that for 3 or 4 years, did makeup and lashes with the Stella Awards, the Glam Room, shout out to them, and then moved into digital media. And in between that, it's like no matter what you do, it seems like the people that know you, they're the least likely to receive you and what you do. And anytime you hear somebody, well, how's your little podcast going? Or how's your little, and it's just like, well, why do you have to put that little on it?
Yeah.
Why can't you just say my brand or whatever? Why do you have to say my little whatever? And it's kind of low key disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
High key. It's extremely disrespectful.
What is your take on that, Evan? No, because I know you feel away. I know you feel away, right? So how do you feel about it? Go ahead. I'm gonna let you do the soapbox. I'm gonna give it to you.
Because do you feel it up? I'm gonna speak on behalf of everybody who's an entrepreneur that y'all have ever said you're a little something to. We hate it, and we really want to punch you in the head when you say it every time. Because what it sounds like to us is that you just don't believe in us. And realistically, as Camille mentioned, like this journey is not the easiest already. Think about it. If you've been pulled from the security net of a 9-to-5, the benefits, and you are launching out into a path of your own that is not always guaranteed. And it's like then for us to be making strides, having a pretty confident day, having an amazing week. And then here you are, meaning well, saying things like, how's your little business doing? And it's like my little business it feeds my family. It furnishes my life. It's not a little business. It might be a little business to you, but to me, it's everything. So stop saying that. Just don't say it anymore. Because it's hard. It's hard. I have my mom's not gonna, maybe when I share, she'll watch from here. My mom has called my business little. And I want to drop kick her too, and I love her. But don't do that. Yeah, sorry about that, Mom. Please, I love you. But it's really one of those things. It hits different because it's like I finally mustered up the courage. And some of us, it takes us years to say, you know what, I'm going to chase my own dream. And then for us to finally be doing it, and then someone else that we love, that we respect, that we consider to be community, that we go to for counsel, is the one to diminish it by calling it a little business. It's like, come on, don't do that to us, please.
And they don't even say little, they say LIL.
Lil. That's not even a word. Your little business. Yeah.
So do you feel like when we say words like trying, well, I'm trying to grow my brand, and why do we use that word? It's not negative, it's not positive, but it's like, well, I'm trying. I think it's all about how we perceive ourselves, because if you really believe like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm networking, you're going to take the trying out.
Absolutely. And that's 100% right. I think it really what it does, it's verbiage and words and sometimes color choices and all that stuff. And even body language really speaks louder than what it is that we're saying. And that term trying is one of those words that I listen to and I hear when I'm sitting with entrepreneurs and sitting with those that are looking to dive into a new lane of life. When I hear words like trying, I'm like, okay, so you know what? There's already a lack of self-confidence there. There's already a lack of belief in abilities and even like carrying out this next plan. And it's all internal. But I remember like being in that place where I would like, I don't use terms trying. I always say I'm building, even if I'm building in the wrong direction. If I'm not even really sure what I'm building tomorrow, I stop using the word trying and I say that I'm building, because that's in essence what I am. And so it's one of those things where it's all perspective, it's all internal, but it really just goes to show like what you really think about you and what it is that you're doing when we use terms like trying. Like, you're not trying, you're doing. You may be doing slow or not at the pace that you desire, that you imagine, but you're still doing. So give yourself credit for that. Stand in that. I love that. Embrace that. But don't try. You do.
I love that. So you said you were speaking with businesses. So give us a little bit of background about who you are and what you do, Evan.
Okay, so the Coach Ev, that is my my persona, my business. That is who I am. When I put this hat on, I turn it to the back and I'm like sitting down with a client or a potential client. It's like I'm all in expansion mode, because I believe that you sit with me, we're going to expand whatever it is that you do. But I actually got my start about 5 years ago. My company, not Coach Ev at the time, my company Vision Birthers that I started, initially started off as me planning conferences and workshops and seminars for churches and pastors because I was in a space. I'm a church kid. Can't really get away from it.
I'm a PK.
Yeah, I'm a former pastor myself, executive pastor, did that for about 4.5 years. But it's in my heart still, of course. And I recognize that all the churching that I've done my entire life, church has always been the one place where you go, but you're not in a space to be educated. And so because it's not a space for education, it becomes entertainment. And then we wonder why people are not able to apply and live out these principles and see their lives change, is because they come into a setting where they're supposed to learn, and the setup is not curated for education. It's curated for entertainment. For example, look at the seating. Anytime you go to a class or a workshop or you go to school, guess what? There's a desk. It's a well-lit area. There's space for you to take notes. Like, all of those components make up the educational space that we are all familiar with. So when some of us, no matter our age, walk into a classroom, we automatically know what to do and how to respond. But we walk into some of our churches and some of our church or religious events, and the lights are dark. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for aesthetics. I'm all about that kind of portion. And I believe that is cool and it's needed. But at some point in time, we have to recognize that there must be an educational setting if we really want people to learn and get better and become who they're supposed to be. So that was the charge and challenge for my business. I did the church planning type conference planning for about 1.5 years before I realized that I could help people. I wanted to do this and I like doing this, but I was here to help people. And so I started to walk with people individually on random stuff, like starting a planner, getting their LLC, little things like that. And it turned into me utilizing my business degree, getting quite a few certifications, learning a whole lot of new stuff about different lanes. And now I'm at a point where I'm full service. I got a publishing company, got media and marketing and branding design arm. I got the business coaching. I got mentorship. I got the courses, and like all of that stemmed from me just saying, you know what, I'm gonna launch out here and figure this thing out and go with it, because I noticed that I had a passion and a burden for a specific area, and that thing just evolved because I was willing to jump on in and give it all I had.
I love that. One thing about, I will say, growing up in church and the church arena, that's another conversation within itself. Like, people understand whether if you're PK or in ministry or PKs that go into ministry, that's like a whole different conversation. And then dealing with churches and then those personalities, that's another conversation.
All the way.
Yeah. And even how church has changed. Like, my church aesthetically is still traditional, like with the altar and the pulpit, and it's a pretty good sized church or whatever. And we're actually in the process of building. But a lot of churches now, to me, kind of has like a lounge feel where it's dark with the lights. I don't understand that, you know. I get it. We're in a different space, but I'm like, why is it dark in here? Like, I don't understand.
It's for appeal. A part of it is for the appeal, because we have to be honest, like the generation that exists is used to doing things like going to concerts. That is stuff that teenagers are doing at age 10, 11, 12, and sometimes younger. So it's really more so of an appeal. And then it's also the other half of it where, you know, as much as church is supposed to be this comfortable place where all feel welcomed, it is not always that. So, of course, you're in the church. You could be sitting next to somebody who is like very expressive, very charismatic. And if you're new here, this is your first time sitting next to them and they're being extremely responsive, and you're just kind of fighting through the nerves of trying to be in this space, in this place, and not want to run out the back door because you already feel awkward because you haven't been here in 10 plus years. Sometimes having the lights off gives a space or a level of safety where it's like, okay, I can like come in, I can be a part of this, kind of get comfortable, get warmed up, and not necessarily be seen. And I'm not kind of pushed into a space. I don't feel bad for not measuring up or aligning to the same way that my neighbor responds to this particular setting or whatever was happening. That's
a very good point. For me, I like the way church is now. Like, I do like to dress nice for church, but I like the fact that there's not such an emphasis on the hat, and lapel, and you know, it's just kind of like, I just want to come here and worship, you know, and I like that. Which kind of leads me into the next question when we're navigating these spaces, when we're talking about being at Morehouse and going to Alabama A&M and going to Chicago. And throughout these changes, you're morphing into the person that you are now. Along the way, your views change, your thoughts change, some of your beliefs change. And in that space, even in the world of business and entrepreneurship, how you look at life change. And it's like, if you're around people that are motivated, they're building, growing, evolving, and then people from like 10 years ago, hey girl, how you doing? What's going on? Nothing. You kind of like, and you find yourself kind of pulling away because it's like, do you want to evolve? Do you want to grow? And I know business is not for everybody.
Yeah.
You start to lose that common ground. So how do you navigate when people start to fall off, or when you feel like, I need to pull back from that doesn't feel positive, but I'm finding myself here in this group now?
Yeah. It's a space that I think that somehow, some way I finally started to do well. I remember like post grad when I was like the first friend to really hit the refresh button on the whole God thing, where I went from, we just went on Sunday mornings because we knew, we were raised, get up and go to church on Sunday morning. So no matter what we did Saturday night in college as a group, we would always get up and go, because we're going to have our Sunday dinner, all the kind of little things like that. But I remember post college when I really had the light turned on for me in a whole different way. And I was the first to go in a sense. And, that was a very strange land because I had such a very tight community between my line brothers and then my close college friends that it was okay, we were always moving in tandem, like always moving as a unit. But I started to learn that lesson quick is that, once you guys start to step into the real world and real life, it's not always possible to move like this unit that you guys did for 4.5 years while in school. We got people got kids, people are stepping into career paths that are taking them across the country. Like so many different things kind of began to happen. And I remember navigating through that space, feeling as though I was pulling away from everyone. And I remember, I can be honest, if you don't mind, is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So I hit a season where I was so committed to church and my involvement in church that I missed out on friends getting married, friends having babies, group friend, like reunion trips. I missed out on so much because I was overly committed to church. And I began to regret, despise, and be bitter towards church. And I recognized, and I remember one day I was like, you know what? God might have told me to dive into this, but he didn't tell me that I couldn't have any balance. And so remembering that and starting to adjust my life, it made me change everything from year 28 on, like where now it's like, I refuse to miss certain things that I consider to be life moments. It's like, hey, you know what? I won't be there. And that's because I also learned that, everything will still go on without you, whether you're there or not. You lose your job today or you pass away, your job will have somebody in your desk in 2 weeks. Now, they may miss your presence, but, that's because it's just kind of how life works. And so I said that to say, learning how to navigate through those seasons, it taught me that, when it comes to life, that people will come and go, and it's not a bad thing.
Right.
It is not a bad thing. I've learned in my 30 years that often, we are really in place to serve and to help people learn certain lessons, and also for them to teach us certain lessons. And that just because time and space and has been inserted in the middle doesn't make them any less impactful in your life. And so that kind of helped me to recognize and understand that, when there are certain seasons where I have to dive in more and then pull back more, it's okay. It's a part of this thing called life. And I do believe doing it that way helps you to also recognize that, identifying where people fall. Everybody isn't a lifelong friend. Everybody is not a lifelong confidant. And that's okay. They're great people. You have wonderful memories. You have great times, great laughs. You guys probably support each other in the toughest of times, but that doesn't always mean they have to be lifelong. And that's not a bad thing either, because when you look at lifelong, we can still be really good friends and not be the best friends we were when we were in college.
Right.
And so like, it's just kind of like learning and understanding that life requires you often to make and to move, and most importantly, to expand your community. Because now I don't even view it like as if I lose anybody. I look at it as I'm just adding more to. And as you add more, often there are seasons and assignments that you have to be willing to be more in tune with here, because this group or this person or this section or situation needs more of the new you right now. So you're able to come into those new relationships, being mature, kind of handling things different, asking different type of questions, because relationships are always a two-way street.
Right. No, that's very true.
Yeah, always a two-way street.
Yeah. I guess like when you were talking about people coming and going, the thought came to my mind is, why is the transition for some so tough? It seems like some people are so possessive because they feel like they've been you since you were 10, 2, 7, 5. We sang in the choir together, we were online together, or whatever. And it's like some people are so possessive. Like if you meet a new friend, they feel the way, or I don't know about her, or like I don't understand that. Like, or they resent you evolving. Like, they want to hold you hostage to who you were 15, 20 years ago. And it's like, no, I'm not that person anymore. I'm over here now. So what is your thought on that? Because I just feel like some people either are possessive or they resent your evolution.
Yeah, and I think those are both real components, but I guess we got to kind of stop and think, you know what, where is this person at and what have I been to them? Because often I've learned, I've had friends that were not cool with me, adding more friends and different things like that. But I recognize I'm able to step back and maturely say, you know what, during that time frame, I can see the seat that I sat in. And then in all actuality, this person isn't being evil or mean or malicious. They just do not want to lose the bond that they have because they truly cherish it. And that is what I believe is at the root of it. Like, you know, at the bottom of that, it's like, hey, I cherish the relationship that we have. And I just don't want you to forget me or to put me away, you know, just because, you know, I see that you're expanding. I see that you're evolving. I see that you're being pulled into different rooms, into different places where you're meeting great people. But it's like, you know, I don't want you to forget me. And so because I've learned that through life and I've chosen maturity. And so because I choose maturity consistently, it makes me stop and to not feel like that about certain things. One of my best friends right now, I will not blast him like I want to, but he can be like that. And I'm like, you're nuts. But I recognize that, you know, when you've been through certain pieces and certain components of life with people, and you guys have been there for each other, with support, a rock, a backbone, a place to laugh, a place to cry, a place to celebrate, all of those things. And often, if you guys do not have sometimes the same past when it comes to relationships and family, it's like certain people cling to you or they hold on to, or your relationship sometimes means more than what you see. I think the quote that they say, like, friends are the siblings that you chose. But when you think about that, that's a real thing. It's like siblings. That means we rocking with each other till the wheels fall off. And because so many of us have built siblings type bonds with our friends, you know, any kind of changes or shifts can make anybody uncomfortable. But it's a maturity thing, and also, of course, the communication. Like, just kind of share those things. Like, hey, you know what? We still rocking. I'm just kind of, you know, I'm things are being added to me for my future. It doesn't take anything away every time.
I totally agree. I do have friends. They do feel more like my cousins or brothers or sisters than friends because of the way we connect, the way we interact. And some of them we talk every day, text every day. And over time, you build a bond. You know, you share personal things, whether it's professionally or personally, and you kind of have these inner workings, and they're there with you, particularly your friends that are in those business circles where I have this idea, and then 2 years later it blows up, but they were there from the very beginning or the inception of it, or even as you're on the phone brainstorming, and then, oh, remember we were talking about that, and, you know. So I just think there's just another level of how it can be so close knit, and I love it. Like, I really do love it. And then when you see each other, like Jalen, I met Jalen when he was doing religious expressions, and he had like a kiosk in the mall. And look at him now, and it's like, oh, that's my little brother. Like, you know, you witness these phases and this growth. It's so phenomenal, and to be a part of it, you're just like, wow, like that's wonderful, you know.
Absolutely. It's like I think that's one of the sweetest things in life is to kind of like look at those that you can remember, like, man, I remember when this was just an idea, or this was just a dream, or this was just something we sat in the car and talked about, and it's like, wow, like, look at this 5 years later. It went from religious expressions, the kiosk in the mall, to now we got 316 apparel that is like out there.
Global, like, global.
Yeah, like that's a legit thing, you know. So I think it's one of the most beautiful things about life as well.
I love it. So with that being said, Evan, what are some takeaways for those that are in business or entrepreneurs and they feel like, man, people are shading me about what I'm doing. They not putting respect in my name. They putting little in front of my, you know, in front of my brand. What do you have to say to those out there and those listening that are on the other end that are giving it?
If you're one of those that are saying it, stop saying it. And then B, if you're one of those that is being said to, level up. Because I've recognized that if you don't carry your business, operate your business, talk about your business as if it's this massive thing, and you talk about it like, oh, it's just my little thing, or No, if you treat it like that and if you kind of display it like that, people are going to respond and regurgitate that back to you. So probably we have to ask, like, are some of the people who are using this little term that we feel as though are disrespecting what we're doing, have we given clearance and opened the door for that by giving what we do to them in a minuscule way? Because I know that I have. There were seasons when I was not confident in what I was doing. So therefore that showed up in my speech, showed up in my body language, showed up in my actions. And so therefore some of that little business talk I warranted, I welcomed, because it was how I felt about it. So I would definitely charge and challenge those that are receiving sometimes a little bit more of the little business. How are you presenting your business? Not just on social media, but how are you carrying it? How are you talking about it? How are you wearing what you're doing? Because I recognize this also. When people are used to seeing us presented not at our best, they automatically assume that so many other things are going on. So could it be that your presentation, or every time somebody sees you, you look down and out, so they think that you're in a slump? So maybe you should like up the ante on everything that you're doing, so people will actually recognize and respect the big thing that you're building.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think we must first show up for our brand.
Oh, yeah.
We have to show up for our brand. And if they don't, like, like in the animal kingdom, they can smell fear.
Oh, yeah.
Smell the lack of confidence. They can smell
Yes. That's one of the things I tell my clients all the time is, like, if you're not going to show up confident, don't show up at all. And if you can't fake it, just don't come. But think about it, if you can find a way to fake it on the set, we call it smiling on the set. If you can smile on the set and give the appearance of confidence, even if you falling apart on the inside, fall apart when you get in the car. I tell a couple of my clients, like, listen, I know y'all are nervous all the time. Fall apart after you get done with the broadcast. Fall apart after you get done speaking. Fall apart, but just don't do it there, because people are, as you mentioned, they can smell that, they can sense that. And who likes a lack of confidence? Y'all don't want to date nobody that's not confident. You don't want to put your money into nothing that's not confident. So we cannot afford, especially as business owners, to give the appearance of any kind of a lack of confidence, because somebody somewhere is going to make a make or break decision that could change our life, change our business, and we could change their life or change their business. But the first thing they need to see, experience, and feel is a confident you.
I love it, Ev. Coach Ev, I love it. So with that being said, I definitely want to bring you back. Your first time right here. You get the thumbs up. You can stay. Everybody doesn't get to stay.
I get it. I definitely understand that part.
Like, well, he can stay. You can stay. Our little kids, get him stay. Yeah, him can stay. So yeah, we'll definitely bring you back. For those that want to connect with you or book you for consultation, where can they find you on social media?
Oh, yeah. So all of my social media handles, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, are Coach Ev, or It's Coach Ev on Instagram and Twitter, and on Facebook, Coach Ev. My YouTube channel is also Coach Ev. But my personal Facebook is Evan S. Brown. So if you want to be a part of both worlds, feel free to join in. Also, my website is www.coachev.com, where you can get more information on me, see the courses that I've offered over the last few years. And we can also definitely sit down and strategize and plan out whatever that thing is in your mind, because I do know this: if you really want to get to the next level, you've got to have somebody at the next level to be a part of what you're doing, because you can't see it all. You're not designed to. So, and I would love to be that guy.
In the words of Mr. Brown, I like it.
I like it.
With that being said, everybody, this is your girl, Camille Essig, host of the Speaker Podcast, the podcast where innovators and creators connect. I hope you got something from this episode. Until next time, be blessed. Bye-bye.